I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is a work session, so there'll be no comments. We're going to work first on the private cemetery burial plot, suggested ordinance, and then if we desire and have the time, we might take up solar. Please announce your presence. Starting with you, Chris.
Chris Abernathy.
Dick Lake.
Jonathan Michael.
Luke Kennedy.
Bob Phillips.
Dave Bruin.
Robert Bowen.
We have a forum. There are no minutes of the meeting. That would be at the regular public meeting. I think we've been through this before. Does anyone have a conflict of interest? Well, I think it's time then we discuss the private cemetery burial plot ordinance as submitted. There were some changes. I did this. There were some changes because the law changed. And I cited the new laws. I don't know, did you send them copies of those?
The new statutes, did I?
Uh-huh.
You didn't receive them. Would you like to see them?
I made those available if anyone would like to see them. I'm comfortable they are the applicable statutes.
That one, the House Bill 2700. This was sent out.
That's it? Yeah.
Yeah, we did receive it.
Okay.
Would you like me to put it up? You guys have any questions about it?
Really isn't a major change from the old other ordinance, except for broadening the class of people that can be buried in the cemetery. It does expand that to allow others than immediate family. And the last part, for other private reasons, these are pretty well widely.
So who determines other private reasons?
I assume the landlord. What this ordinance will essentially do is allow any landowner to make burial space available to anyone that he or she saw fit.
Just for everyone's benefit, the particular subsection that Mr. Lake has proposed, I'm just going to read the first section that speaks to that point. Bodies plural, may be buried in a private cemetery burial plot determined by the owner of the private cemetery / burial plot and may be related by blood, marriage, adoption, friendship, or other private reasons. Mr. Lake stated there should be no purchase or fee required or allowed to be buried in a private cemetery / burial plot and some other conditions. Thank you for coming up. Sure. It's difficult to do that in just a few minutes in a regular meeting.
That's why I thought it would be helpful to have something to start with. kinds of meetings.
I mean, that pretty much covers everything. I would think,
Okay, next we need to publish it and then have a public hearing,
Yeah,
that would be next.
yeah. So I've missed the deadline for the regular March, or February meeting. So if we wanted to do it in February, it would be the next week. Or you could wait till March to your regular meeting, depending on what you guys want to
What's the
do.
board?
Also depending on how many work sessions you're wanting to do. So keep that in mind.
Was it this can only be acted upon at a regular
hearing.
meeting, not a workshop?
Right.
Are there any applications that have been made to your office?
No,
For private cemeteries?
not yet. Nothing planned.
I don't know, just get into the March meeting, we will have a public hearing of this.
We're gonna have enough work sessions to actually use the,
You don't need to take official action on that. You just do that.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, there won't be any official action in this meeting at all.
Okay. Well, then I suggest we move on to thinking about solar. I've read everything that's been submitted, but I haven't had the chance to compare it with the proposed ordinance. And I'd like a little more time myself to put together the ordinance as submitted to us by the county commission and the suggestions, so we can look at them together. I think that's the best way to approach it. That's how I try to approach things. I just didn't have time to get that done, sorry. I just didn't have time. So if anybody wants to discuss solar, I'm more than willing to stay and discuss it. But I haven't done my homework.
Work sessions then, you guys want to schedule a number of them. I put some of the dates that the county council will be available. You guys want to take those into consideration?
I had one concern, comment on requesting that the county council be at our work sessions, because we have to pay him to come, and if we don't have anything for him, that's a waste of
I
time.
don't think we need it.
I would say we compile a list of questions if we have them, and then schedule a meeting where we can attend, so that we're not paying him just to sit here for nothing.
I was county council all the time I was county attorney, so I'm somewhat familiar with that. I haven't done it recently. I think that's a great idea. So when could we next have a work session?
Well, the regular meeting would be on 13th of February, so you could have it that time.
Okay. I think I can get something together by then. I'll do my best.
Yeah, on the 13th, you could conduct some business like approving the minutes from the previous meeting of zoning change.
Okay.
Yeah. And then go to work session.
Okay. That work for everybody?
have you received many of the solar input forms?
Yes.
What's your feedback? We didn't get them?
We got the ones that were
Yeah, I
received
didn't
prior to
know.
the 13th, but I'm sure you have more.
I do have some more.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, please get those too.
Oh, yeah, by the next one, yeah.
Which I hear you was waiting until closer to time.
Yeah.
And
I'm sticking with my 10-day before this day.
I don't feel that it's your responsibility to do all of it. I mean, it's our responsibility to go through those as well. You know, when we get those, do our homework on those.
And I'm really doing it for myself. That's the way
I appreciate that.
that's the way I've always approached things, and old habits die hard.
I appreciate that, but I don't feel that it's your responsibility to do all of that.
Thank you. And I don't know that it always will, but I think it's important for this one. This is a major consideration for the board.
Oh, absolutely.
The, one thing that I noticed, that when we're normally amending regulations, that we have it formatted, like it will actually fit into our zoning regulations. This is formatted as a resolution. So, do you want it formatted like it would just go right into the regulations if they get adopted? Or you wanna keep it in this format? Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Well, that's how the county commissioners submitted it.
But it doesn't mean that that's how we have to format it when you guys are talking about amending the regulations.
Okay.
Because this body is not about resolutions. That's what the county commissioners do.
So essentially what it would be is all of this page here. I think it would start right here at Article 30. Formatted like the rest of the zoning regs are formatted.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Please, yeah. Please do that.
And also on Article 30, if you wouldn't want to keep all of this in Article 30, or if you want an addendum or something, because Article 30 in our regs right now are just one page. So this would add another 30 pages, which would affect the rest of the zoning regulation page numberings, which means a good portion of the book is going to be renumbered and table of contents will be redone and all that. So, or you like this format where it's all just right there, Article 30.
What's your recommendation?
I kind of feel like having an addendum
Okay.
works better.
All right.
I don't know if you guys think that.
You don't have to change everything.
Right. Change the entire rest of the formatting of that, which is not a big deal, it's just a page number thing, so.
One thing that I think is important is that if you do the addendum, the county does the addendum, that everything be in one addendum. They
Yeah.
not have to refer, here's part of it, and you go several pages, skip several pages, and then
Right.
another 12 pages, all of them
It would be a
together
sole
for ease
addendum,
of,
yeah.
ease of,
Yeah. You guys wanna do that, Ralph?
Yes.
I would think so.
I just have one comment on this. It's my understanding, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, that adoption of this draft resolution is not an approval of solar. That it then comes before the special use or further down on that. That's the way I'm understanding it.
That's correct.
Okay. Just making sure.
Another general thing that I have is in here, it's talking about a special use permit. To me, it's more of a conditional use permit. Because all of our special uses are, it fits in line with that zoning district. And yeah, you may have some stipulations on a special use permit, but to me, a conditional use permit is more restrictive. It's got more conditions on it. And it's conditioned that that use is there, and if something is broken out of that condition, then it's a bigger deal.
That's what I agree.
Or do you not want to mess with conditional use
verbiage on special use doesn't fit in this application.
Because there are a lot of conditions.
With that, the conditional use, there are certain due processes that are followed under zoning change. Does the conditional use permit still follow those? I mean, or does that remove some of those processes? I mean, as far as the,
I think there's more of a process for conditional uses. More things have to be presented to commissioners or planning commission
versus the zoning change.
versus just a zoning change. Or just a special use permit.
Is there anything on this that we can work through? I don't know if we're working on something that we can work through without, the first couple pages, I don't think really had any effect on the public commentary that we received. And we need to spend the time that we're here and start reading through it and see if we have discrepancies, or just wait, or, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. We're here, and how much of it we need to discuss.
There's several ways that anybody could proceed with it. I think probably the time, maybe starting tonight, is that they go through each page. But if we do it that way, I would hope that the planning board would be willing to go back. For example, if we talk about page 1 tonight, and then someone receive feedback from the public, or one of us has an idea, okay, has some additional information. Once we reach page 5 tonight, we need to come back to that, and we're able to come back to the evidence closed. We got feedback from those earlier pages.
Now we think.
Well, we couldn't do that for a public meeting, we have to have the entire ordinance again to discuss it.
Oh, I'm sure that by the time we get to page 35, there's going to be something on page 2.
Maybe. Allow for that.
Right. I don't disagree.
So if we do change it to the conditional use permit, you basically have to go through and change it everywhere in here, right?
That's easy enough. Just switch to it.
Do you want, like, do you want to update that? Have it, like, we have it for the next work session with the updated, is that what you're thinking? Just so we're all, what it's actually going to be.
I'm assuming the board of county commissioners has not made any further proposed changes to the proposed regulations since the 12/26/24 version 7 was provided to this board, correct?
There haven't been any additional?
Yeah, the board of county commissioners has not made
No.
any further
No.
recommendations, changes. And that was the government.
Not that I've been given. So,
probably being picked vehicles tomorrow. You're aware, I'm sure.
It's one of those you hear through the grapevine.
Beg your pardon?
I said it's one of those you hear through the grapevine.
There've been some lawsuits filed recently, but they didn't involve solar.
Yeah, they were going regarding solar, it was on the internet today.
Well, there was one regarding solar where an employee was, or a member of this board was terminated because the ordinance was changed from wind and solar. That lawsuit was just filed. That still wouldn't affect us.
My question was whether anything we do has to be, those lawsuits have to be resolved before we make our suggestions or recommendations to the county commission.
No.
No. But yes, there was a lawsuit filed by Mr. Hoffman and a couple of other people from, three other people from the Dealey area. I have a copy of it.
My understanding is we're just going through and writing regulations that any solar company would have to follow
That's correct.
in order to apply for this.
Yeah.
So none of that.
I don't know
none
that
of
that's a matter to
litigation.
bring before the board. I don't think that's a matter that needs to be before the board.
I don't know. I was looking at that to be resolved before we made our recommendations to the county commission.
We haven't challenged our right to make that
And
recommendation.
the planning commission was not mentioned as a defendant in the case.
And I don't know if that would stop us either. We're an independent body working on a particular ordinance. I suppose if they really thought they wanted to stop this body, they'd have to file an injunction. And then the court would decide whether or not we had the ability to move forward or not.
Mr. Chairman, something that we might want to consider, this is partly because of the 10-day lead period that the public comment forms are required to be provided in order for this body to have time to consider them, ask any county employees to ask any questions of any council that need to be asked. But I don't know if we can, obviously at this point we don't know, but I'm wondering if we want to go ahead tonight and set up some additional work sessions besides just the one on the second Thursday of March, just to allow those time periods to already be somewhat preset, at least for a little ways out, and maybe set one more work session.
I think that's a good idea.
First of March, time we could set the second one, and then that was canceled.
In February.
Yeah, just here, right. That way there's, people have more knowledge in advance of that new time.
I'm unavailable on third Thursdays every month, so.
27th? 27th of February?
Right. You're suggesting the 27th.
I'm suggesting the
Yes.
27th. Yeah. Can we all make the 27th?
And I'll get you a calendar email.
I'm gonna look myself.
February 13th is set up as a 7 p.m. Meeting, so the 7 p.m. would stand. It has to be done by 7 p.m. on the 13th. Would stand.
Yeah, I'll take
They're
the
good.
change on the 28th.
Yeah, they
Review
can
it
do.
once in the third.
On the 13th, yeah.
Theoretically, we could have flexibility on 27th to make that one.
At 6? Anybody uncomfortable with the 27th at 6?
Want to go in March?
Yeah,
Or do we just want to do another work session at our regular meeting, or at least schedule one?
That one will probably be the funeral
cemetery.
after the funeral. So the cemetery and burial one. So I don't know if you guys want to set up a work session after that. There's also very likely the potential of another zoning change or something before then too. So if you do a work session after that, it could be a busy night. So just keep that in mind.
We want to do March 27th then?
We have the potential on a regular meeting that I haven't seen it, but the appeal board may tie into that.
6 o'clock.
Anybody have a problem with the March 27th at 6?
So that's next month, so we can see how we get along with those.
Did you say April? April? Or just wait?
I'd say wait. See how that keep going on this. The rate we're going, it's gonna be,
Get too late, too long, and everything. But you gotta think of, when is the commission expected, if something come up before it's over?
They shouldn't hurry us, they took their time.
Several years in their case.
Yeah. I think they'd like it sooner if they got it to us. I think we'll just go by, they'll get it when we're ready.
Yeah, I think we want to try to cut the time.
I don't think they're willing, they're probably not willing to wait as long as, they won't give us as much time as they took, let me say it that way.
They don't set our schedule, we do.
I don't get it.
And they'll get it when we're comfortable.
I
But not
defer,
before.
Mr. Chairman.
And I'll be happy to tell them that.
do we wanna go through the rest of these, or,
What do you want to do?
I mean, I'd like to go through some of them,
Okay.
just start out.
if nothing else, to get a feel for where we're at, so we can know how to continue, I mean,
Sure.
I assume, we've all read them. So,
started and Todd took over that has all the various counties with what their setbacks are, and so you, it's a quick glance at what other counties are doing. I started, a spreadsheet on that, started it today, so it's still pretty rough, and I don't have, all the counties in here yet, but I'll try and find that while you guys are working on this one.
In my opinion, in paragraph 1, commission findings, I mean, according to the comprehensive plan, what's written for this county, you have to stretch pretty hard to find a place for solar in the comprehensive plan. Categorizing favoring primary soils, preservation of known areas of sensitive habitat.
There is a map in the comprehensive plan that has the, waterways in it, which would be important to reference. Rates and everything that would be, buffer areas or setbacks or. To me, those are sensitive waterway areas. Well, and sensitive habitat areas too, there's a map in there on sensitive habitat areas. Jamie found a typo.
Just says pages 31-2 for the comprehensive plan, and I think it should be 31 and 32.
On bullet two, I have a concern, preservation of private ag soils and impact on cultural, historical, or archaeological features. The western edge of Jackson County is the eastern edge of the Flint Hills. And I see a need to protect the native rangeland as part of the Flint Hills. The western edge of Jackson County is the eastern edge of the Flint Hills region in Kansas. So this proposed site is in the Flint Hills region, and it is my opinion that that's culturally sensitive rangeland and deserves protection.
Is any of that original?
Some of it would be virgin native,
Is it?
some of it is improved. Improved grassland by meaning it's been torn up and either farmed or reverted back to grass, but
Because there was a place right on the south end, can't remember the name of the owner, but I know it was native. And they put something through it. She tried to get him to change Gene Rodolph to pay to have it moved north, and they wouldn't do it with the right to the land. And I don't think it's made it. That's the only one I knew of for sure.
There's a large, I don't know the total percentage, because I haven't seen each property that's even included, and that's not where we're at yet, in my opinion, on this. This is a, you know, a broad overall, because the next one could be in eastern Jackson Township. But it is my opinion that we cannot replace virgin native rangeland, and we shouldn't tear it up.
So can we get a map around, see which land is and isn't?
But I think we'll get that when it comes to the zoning, the conditional use permit. This is a broad.
Just in general.
Yeah, this is gonna have to be a broad, general term, because if we say, well, it can't happen over there, then they can turn around and say, well, it didn't say it couldn't happen over here. So this has to be a broad term for Jackson County, that what we will or will not allow to be built. Then, once this is resolved, then they can come forward and apply that conditional use to these standards. And then we can say, does that fall into this category or does it not? That's the way I see it.
So you would want it to see preservation of native. Okay.
And see your.
It kind of falls into both of them. I feel that the Twin Hills is cultural and historical, but it's also preservation of primary soils. Now, primary soils could be described as on farmland, very highly productive for that type of thing. So, I mean, I don't know where it needs to go. I'm just opening this up for discussion, that this is one of the things that is high on my priority list, because that's my life.
Maybe a list of those areas. Certain water ways.
Well, and I don't know that Jackson County is necessarily delineated as part of the Twin Hills. I'm just saying that in our comprehensive plan, we described that we want to protect those properties. There's a sign on the highway.
I guess that problem I have is, and I understand what you're saying, but how can you tell a landowner what he can and what he can't do with his own land? I mean, he bought it. I mean, that's the biggest problem I have with the whole thing. How can you tell somebody they can't do something with their land that they bought and paid for, and now they decided, I mean, if they wanted to come out and build worlds of fun, I probably wouldn't want it, but if they condemned it and decided to put it in, what am I gonna do? But, I mean, or if I wanted to have it in, and everybody else didn't want it, I don't know, I mean, that's the problem I have is, you know, I worked hard to get my ground, and whatever I wanna do with it, I'd be able to do with it. So I don't know, I understand what you're saying.
I don't disagree with that. That's where I struggle, is private property rights. However, Jackson County is zoned, and we do have a comprehensive plan. And if we have to determine whether private property rights outweigh the benefit to the public or vice versa. And I'm just saying what I
understand.
what my
I know.
goal is.
I agree with you too.
There's plenty more I've got in here, but that's where it's based on, you know, it's.
I understand that.
Yeah, I'm in a tough spot of trying to decide
Yeah.
private property rights versus. And that's the first sentence. Cease to violence private property rights and community rights.
Or just maybe a correction here that there were 2 lots. Those would be okay.
suggested language you referred to?
No, I think it's in there.
Okay,
I think that it's in there. I'm just saying that that's how I'm interpreting it.
okay,
Because you can't specifically list the native grassland in that part of the county when it doesn't affect the eastern side or the northern side. So I think it falls into the preservation of primary soil and the impact on cultural and historical features. That I'm saying, I feel native grassland is part of that. So I think it's already written, the verbiage is already there, it's just how we're interpreting it. Yeah. And I'm just letting you know where I'm at, is all. At some point, we're gonna have to discuss each one of these and figure out whether that's what we want to say. There's a lot of stuff to do. In H, in their impact on adjoining landowners, if they're holding environmentally sensitive, I mean, even if you allowed it on improved drainage or improved in a farm, but the neighbor has native grassland, and solar is allowed on right next door, and a tornado comes through and blows all of the stuff over into the neighboring property, how do you ever clean that up? You have to go in and scrape the soil and clean all the little glass patches, so then they don't have the opportunity to have that historic protected property.
Didn't also make that argument that that's all on our house as well.
Yeah, but and I've got solar at my house. You could, it's on a lot smaller scale. I mean, the likelihood of my panels getting hit by a tornado is gonna tear up so much else with it. But if you put 5,000 acres, which is proposed not in this, but either way, if you put those up there, the likelihood of them getting hit by something is a lot greater. I think that the cleanup would be unfathomable. Minus 1 or 2 panels blow away is not going to take out the whole culture across the road. It's going to take out 100 feet wide stretch. Environmental protection, wildlife habitat are accommodated. Later on, it talks in here about what to put underneath the panels for vegetation. And it talks about native grasses. Well, these do come with a fire risk, and if we put native grass, allow native grassland underneath them, any kind of dry grass, come August, September, we've got huge wildfire risk. Just highlighting several points in this that we've got.
Yeah, you can't probably do it with full farm with that.
And you're talking about a product that's intended on catching the sun's rays, between small spark, create problems. With that, with these regulations, I see we need to have protections in place for those things.
So would you suggest maybe a fire break or?
doesn't carry the fire risk. I'm not even there yet, you know.
Yeah.
I'm highlighting the reasons that it shouldn't be allowed, I guess. But I think there is ways around that too. Cool season grass, it's kept a shorter vegetative state. Yeah, we put 6 foot tall native grass out there, it's really nice.
Very area, no struggles. Underneath.
Four seasons of grass is going to burn, so they have to.
They do, and they will.
I had that football experience with that.
The risk is reduced. But,
Yeah,
yeah,
it can't be put out with water either. The way the fire department found that out,
it is smoke.
and put out with foam. And there are people that from them departments that foam and equipment to deal with that. Or by the city, street, and the places, and because those that cannot be, but that the code is on the way.
You guys have your books with you. So, go to Article 7. Section 1, or excuse me, Section 3. Yeah.
They want to get an
Page 19.
19.
Normal use, look at 10. And then go down and look at special use. Somewhere. Electrical substation. E on 20. I'm just, directing you there because I think that one is something.
Those are things allowed under A1.
The article, yeah, the number 10, that's like a regular use
Right.
that doesn't require any sort of rezoning or anything, but then E is under special use permit.
And so with that change to a conditional use, does the special use rules, or wait a minute, do we have rules for conditional use, or is that what we're writing?
That's kind of what we're writing. But I don't know how that's gonna play into this, but just that was a special use under A1. Just something I thought about.
Sure.
But that necessarily doesn't mean that's where it's gonna be, does it? I mean, do these two go hand in hand? They don't, do they? I mean, as far as what, I mean, if we do this and it doesn't pass there, then they can move east and go somewhere else, right?
Well, I think this little diagram is just to kind of give you an idea that it's the extent and then the project area and then the array assembly within inside that project area, just to show you the boundaries and how the boundaries are affected.
That's not a map of anything.
Just an example
That, yeah.
of those two types, the definition of those two types.
Yeah, that's just showing you, so you can understand the extent and the area inside it. Because it says later in the regs that the area can't be more than 70% of the extent. But, I mean, something like that. Yeah, area is 70% of the extent, so that,
Like, yeah.
yeah.
And also say no more than 2,000 acres.
Per project, that's what.
Yeah, I had a question on that too, if that was, I didn't see any clear numbers in there on total extent, like total county.
How many CSECs or whatever, you know, just be a while. Right. I had a question on the limited scale solar energy, LSECS. It's more of a private system, doesn't exceed 20 acres. And the last electricity created is for consumption of members in the group and not for transfer or sale. So does that, except for the allowance of net metering. So I think that reads that you could hook it back up to the grid and sell it to the grid, as it is with my private system. If I overproduce, it goes back on the grid. So in that limited scale, could you put up 20 acres of panels privately and sell it back to the grid, or is that verbiage? I mean, the consumption of members in the group, or is it, I mean, it's acceptable to go back to the net metering? You can understand why.
So I understood it like the personal and private, that would be a homeowner or a farmer when you put up some panels for some work homes or well, it's your the limited scale, I thought was more like a cooperative area or cities. Wanted to do it outside the city limit.
Is this something used or something outside the city limits?
Or like outside the city limit, it's a city, but outside the city limits, where they're not regulating it, but the county will be, and they're not going to annex.
It doesn't, nothing said about that. I mean, it says, it's typically created by people that go together to make a co-op. But is that saying that the three of us are neighbors and we could get together and put them on 20 acres of my land and then sell it back to the grid? In my opinion, I see that as something that I would accept in this county. I don't know about the large scale commercial type, but the small scale, if you could sell it back to the power company, and they were making money on it, and the power company could sell them back to the other people around it. It goes in the grid and comes right back. So I see that as a more beneficial aspect of this plan than C. So I just wanna make sure that that's clearly or written clearly enough that that's a viable option.
And that might be a question for the commission, for clarification on that. I had some of the same questions, related to, the way I read it, I'm not an attorney, certainly don't represent the county as good as possible. The way I read it is, yes, 3 or 4, however many people that are neighbors to go to, our system. But what about, our electric co-ops? Because much of the county is served by electric co-ops. Do they have the option of, proposing a project under B, we had, SSC, or the, commercial standard one? I'm assuming that they would, well, based on the size and the others, would be contiguously involved.
And
My suggestion is we come up with a language we think for a couple of years, and then submit it. I'd rather see us comfortable with the language, rather than go to Todd, and may or may not be happy with what he gives us. You might think about working on the language.
yeah, and I'm just saying that there are probably several pieces of property in Jackson County that they'll either grow good houses or they grow weed. And you're limiting it to 20 acres, or we can make that smaller or whatever. I mean, I think 20 big. But it's one of the things, mostly everybody talks, we're all thinking on the commercial scale, and this could get forgotten. We need to make sure that that's addressed, and whether or not we want it or not.
Like this is about it.
This is that power station created here in the States.
There are a number of electric co-ops around the state, not a whole lot of them, but a few that have small scale, kind of what B is describing. Some of them though are more than 20 acres. They're not large comparatively, but somewhere in the 50 to 90 acres. I'm not suggesting that just the 20 acres or something else.
Right.
Which would obviously then fall under C.
Right. Anything over 20 would. Well,
Whatever, is part of the stuff.
right.
That was the only one that I noticed actually had any acre amounts on it. Probably add more limiting factors or something in the other ones that more clearly define them.
So do we want to put a C, so many acres? And like so that that can be
Me personally, on C, Jimmy, this is also just the definition, but I think we should put a number on how many CS and CSs would be allowed in the to keep from, so that you can, so it's not limited for, I guess it's not, what I'm saying.
Down the road, they keep coming and,
Right.
yeah.
Maybe, yeah, that's, we need a cap on that for sure.
after the landowner. My neighbor has one, I think it's a good idea, but I can't have one, limited the number of them.
Right.
Get back to that landowner's rights. How much do you want to step on the landowner?
And the landowner originally doesn't want it, but his neighbor puts one up, and you gotta live in the shadow of it, he's, well, I might as well get the money every time.
That's the conversation.
I think there's a difference between utility scales and putting a limit on that many acres versus like the limited scale solar energy. Cause those are definitely gonna be smaller little patches, or do you want to put a limit on those as well?
Well, and I guess with that terminology, with commercial or utility scale, is the utility fall under the electric company? You know, in the limited scale, that's a, people that join together to make it go on. But in the utility scale, that's already, is utility describing Brown Atchison or MG, or, I mean, if Evergy wanted to come to Jackson County and put in a limited scale, well, they'd have to fall under the utility scale, because they're already classified as that, and that's what I'm asking.
That's probably what it says for commercial or utility scale.
Could be another point of clarification from the county council. Whether that definition goes by the acreage, or if it goes by the owner of the system. In this case, should be a utility. I would say,
They're already filed as a public utility. I think most of the rest of this draft holds, I mean, it's describing commercial. So I think a lot
I don't know if we do, because the county or not.
Um,
They will be protected anyway.
there, well, where is it? No sensitive habitat areas. We do have sensitive habitat areas in Jackson County, so they may not fall under the scope of this current project, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about our regulations. So yeah, we do need to have, studies done on affecting those sensitive areas.
I think we don't want to put wildlife in for any of the runoff or anything like that. But
Couldn't we draft it that whoever the applicant must conduct those
Yes,
studies?
that's what I'm suggesting. We put in the regulations that that's required.
I think somewhere like on page 16, there are requirements when they apply that,
That's the soil
they would
study.
have to supply so many things. One of them was a site plan. What was the other one? Okay. So the site plan is on 16. There's a operations plan would be another requirement.
Add to that.
Okay, so on page 7, I don't know if you want to just wait or you can just jump to that real quick, but during the application process, those are the things that they want with the application. So A is a detailed description of the overall project. And as I was reading through this, I think under A, it should be site plan, operations plan, grading plan, the different plans that are gonna be required should be detailed right there. So it's very clear that this is what is required during the application. And there was something about sensitive habitat further on, so I think that would definitely be one.
On page 9, 6C, it was mentioned of, vegetation management. That is a big one.
So yeah, would be making a list of all of those plans that are required and making it very clear under A, like, this is what we need. That would help me too in that process when they're bringing in all this stuff that I know that
That's the first thing you get,
yeah,
detailed list of.
yeah, and like a checklist too.
All in one place that was not scattered.
Right. Randomly through this 30-some pages of, so anytime any of you see plan of some sort, highlight it, underline it, whatever, so we have that list of all those various plans.
I think they need to say in there that the study needs to be done, like under site plan. G is plant wildlife corridors, well, how do you know plant wildlife corridor without studying the wildlife across the recommend the order that really clearly calls that out.
If we don't know how many deer or turkey are there, and then 10 years later, we say, well, there's none here, well, what, were they here to start with, or did animals run them off?
And who's conducting the study? To me, that's important too.
Right.
Like,
Not only that, but who's gonna pay for it?
Well, the applicant will pay for it, but then we get to pick who they use, I mean, because if they have a plan, a study or on site, and they say, well, there's nothing, do we need to have recommendations for who?
Or if we just say, I mean, we have a wildlife biologist that, lives in town, I mean, works, this is his area.
Right.
Say it's specifically.
Consultation with But the one, yeah, the one that's
Right.
assigned to this county, so he knows that area.
Right.
No, I'm glad you're right.
And that was under what? Page.
Where we're still on fire. Well, yeah, I guess I don't want to jump too far ahead and then forget, I'm, just highlighting things we need to approach, and then when we come to it, maybe we'll know what I'm actually doing. But there, all of those points there are kind of listed as studies that need to be completed. The wildlife study, the preservation of ag soils and impact on cultural features, impact on water quality and soil erosion, that's going to study drainage effects. Those regulations are saying that we need to consider those, but we're going to ask for studies that help us consider that.
We need to have something in hand
Yeah.
to see.
So which one do you think, see, B is definitely a study. Something to think about.
Yeah. And I don't know how this falls under that, but on C, you can work with the NRCS, the conservation districts. On, but that's gonna be addressed later in the site grading, but they would be able to say what types of soils, and if we put regulations on what types of soils are able to be used, there could be a consultation with them or get them involved. They would be involved, for the watershed districts. That was on. Yeah, NRC has the water districts.
C or D?
And probably for the same one. Yeah, I mean, you just want to make sure that any bridges that have the equipment need gate number on the front need to be inspected before.
County study?
Yeah, it's gonna have to fall under regulation. California protected.
No skipping.
Register on it, versus I'm going to tear it down for a year or two, you know.
Yeah, if it's already protected, they would know about it, somebody would know about it, but yet if they don't ask, I mean, the landowner, I guess. So,
I know Cougar Ranch still standing, and by Russell. This goes way back. It's a nursing home in Law. It was about 5,000 acres ranch in Chicago. It had murals painted on the walls, it was quite a place. And then one that I think it's already fallen down, the one that copied Terra. Moving. It's shot up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it gone? I think it was falling down on itself.
still there, but it's not much of it.
Probably not gonna get on the story. There used to be a place just off behind the building over here that they finally tore down. Old log cabin, remember that? In the alley behind my office, yeah.
So, just moving forward here on number 2 on B. Earlier in the requirements for special use, it lists limited scale as well as commercial facility. And in 2, it does not list limited scale. One of those needs to be changed. We either have it here or both places or neither. Either one of them. In section 2.1, the purpose and intent of regulations, the purpose of this section is to provide details for limited scale or commercial scale. But then when we go to 2B, it says these regulations apply to commercial, and it doesn't list limited scale. So, right.
One or both, or these apply to one, and these apply to both.
And
It says in the title of the section that, you know, has locals and other things that locals and everywhere.
And then we would need limited scale to follow setbacks, locations from neighbors.
So it's just the same as.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's one of the few places that I saw the limited scale in this draft. So,
So right in here, we're gonna need a limited scale.
either that or put it with the apply to limited scale and.
There's also the possibility that limited, we would limit it to a different extent.
Right.
But if we do that, then on the title sheet section, it needs to just say commercial.
They have to get it applied for a special use or a conditional use to do a limited scale. So then we would have to have regulations, if we want a separate set of regulations for limited or.
To me, they should both follow the same. For instance, like on B there, you know, it says the use of battery energy storage system or similar storage
there's one other point in here, and I saw it, but I wasn't sure where the batteries came in. But it lists batteries as acceptable. Under the definitions of commercial utility, the system's connected to transmission, collector, feeder lines, and or battery storage. So it's in the definition, but over here we say it's not allowed.
Yeah,
Battery storage.
just by definition, it's in there.
Okay.
So battery storage on a personal level, on a private level, right? Because people could have battery storage.
But they would have to apply for additional use. Is that
So you all just wanna,
too confusing? It says batteries are not allowed, but yet they would be under A.
well, these say the standards do not apply to personal or accessory commercial construction systems. So everything below that doesn't matter to the person. You wanna just add in on B to include everything?
I think so, that's the way it's listed.
Yeah, I think and where it says, where it's listed, when it's listed in the title, limited and or commercial, and where it says commercial, it needs to say limited as well.
Like that? That work?
And then, so it's one of your search and finds, but anywhere the C, whatever it is, the CSECS would also have to include LSECS.
Because you want the same conditions to apply to.
Someone explain battery drags to you, I don't know what that's describing. If grant of a permit does not best rights and current standards. Or what does that mean? Just by these regulations existing doesn't mean that somebody automatically gets to plan a project. But
I'm not an attorney, but the way I'm way with. You know, we have an attorney, but, is what that may be saying is that just because someone came in under the current standards, that doesn't mean that down the road that those, the standards the county imposes won't change. It's not granted to the new,
They're not grandfathered.
granted to the grandfather. That may be.
And that, I would say that's one thing that's clarification from the attorney on.
I think what it says is if the regulations change, you'll have to change to conform to the new regulations. That's what it says. You can't come in and say, no, you already said I could do it this way.
No grandfather, that would be my recommendation.
5 years to apply.
That's what I needed.
So it'd be easy to talk about like the grading, stormwater management, drainage requirements, all that. I would say it'd be like, after the environmental study and all that, then it starts forming, they go in and change stuff, you have to comply, you can't say, no, I've done it the way you have to.
I did it the way you told me I could, and well, now we're saying that's not working, you're gonna fix it.
So we want to change that 5 years.
That seems like a long time.
That is kind of like too.
And it would be dependent on what the situation was. If it's a ditch, yeah, it would be a gully, or it would be a river in 5 years, but there might be some things that would take 5 years.
The damage in 5 years. You know, if you're gonna put in a project like this, you better maintain and take care of it. Something needs to be fixed, it needs to be fixed now, not 5 years.
We can change that number, whatever we feel.
There must have been a reason why, that particular number is being proposed. I do not know what that reason is.
And that reason doesn't matter if we say we want it different. I mean, yes, we don't know what that reason was, but I think this is just a draft that they pulled together from several other different projects or whatever.
And we don't have to know their reasons, we need to know our reasons.
Right. We say that 5
We
years
think,
is too
we
long.
think 3 years is more reasonable, and we put 3 in.
That's insane.
I'd be fine with 2, and 2 doesn't matter.
I'd be happy with 1 and then put, you know, if circumstances allow, we can change it to, give them some extended time. But I don't wanna just keep dragging the thing out, you know how that goes, I mean, I understand everything there is on solar, but, you can't do it done in 2 years' time.
Want to put in a year? What wants to do?
Yeah, let's put a year.
Put a year.
Would there be any way to word it a year? Doesn't mean it's not something that needs a ditch, you know, format or something. Is there circumstances? I guess that's what I'm
Well,
saying.
then, yeah, I mean, it could be more based on, you know, petition to the planning committee, or, you know, something like that. To take a petition for an extension to that.
Pending, you know,
I mean, I don't know the conservation plans, you know, stormwater management, I don't know that that's gonna change, make those regulations. I mean, yeah, the ditch forms, that's part of the previous process that something went wrong. So I agree, we don't wanna go very long, but I think there should be some
Right. You just do it.
So in section 3, this goes to what Dick was wanting to do to start with. We did have one public comment that I saw that was specifically stated in section 3. And I'm gonna have to try real hard to read that. You have a copy?
I have no idea where you are. If the guy previously been told he had 5 years to comply, and the county commissioner told him he's only got 2 years, could be a problem with it.
So he won't know, he'll never be told 5 years if he sent it as.
Nobody's been told 5 years. And so we're trying to decide now who this problem is. So that number should be in the first one, so the third one from the start.
And logically, you wouldn't think you'd be changing things unless it was really necessary.
Right.
There's no apply to politicians, so it's like,
Luke, whose farm do you want to look at?
It was Wharton, John Wharton. He had 3 of them. This is, yeah, section 4, section 5, and section 3. Section 3, subsection 4. There are no restrictions on the amount of solar panels that can be placed on a parcel of land. There needs to be a limit in the form of generation capacity per acre, kilowatts or megawatts per acre. And then in section 3, subsection 8, all of the setbacks are too small. The solar installation needs to be at least 1,200 feet from any residence and 500 feet from any on a road, county, township, or one land. And then section 3, subsection 14A, integration of food production into the project design is encouraged but not required. Needs to be a plan in place to show how the land will continue to be used for agricultural purposes. If this is not required, then this is not an agrivoltaic project. One comment I would add to that is I don't believe that this commercial is considered agricultural.
Oh, there you go. It's easy to do that. Yeah, let's stare on my little phone.
Sorry.
He was, yeah, just get me out of my zone.
Get done with this, so I can bring it back up.
Go ahead.
So, agrivoltaic, a solar energy conversion system that provides for both solar energy collection and compatible agricultural uses that have dual use property. The most common types of agrivoltaic facilities include growing crops, providing pollinators, and raising animals. These agriculture activities occur underneath the surrounding the panels and walls.
So I don't know whether a commercial project is going to be considered agrivoltaic also, because what I understand agrivoltaic are they're, a lot of them put the panels vertically and have a front set and a back set. So the sun catches this side and then it catches the other side, and then they graze animals or graze crops or whatever in between. Definition, it does say underneath, but I don't know whether we're classifying commercials as agrivoltaic or not, whether that's a requirement that they do that.
Don't believe so. My interpretation is whether it incorporates agrivoltaic is up to the utility or maybe whoever the company is.
The permit holder.
The permit holder, whether it's a company or if we would enable us to have a system that for them to decide it, and design their own project, which may or may not include.
But could we say that any company that wants to have a CS project in the county is required to be agrivoltaic?
I don't know if we want to go to that level.
I think you could say encourage, but I don't know if you could.
Yeah, I think there are solar companies that are friendly to people. But that's something, we talked about the grass, that's something that I personally would like to see is us, if we could double users anyway. Because I've seen some videos where they raise sheep under it, the panels that I saw, yeah, they sat higher, they were a double-sided, lean back, I don't know, anything else or whatever, but, it, to me, when we're worried about a fire potential or something like that, that is one way to help keep it in the essentially tall grass and stuff like that. So I would be in favor of finding a way that we can incorporate or strongly encourage or require, however we say it, to make it as agrivoltaic as we can.
Put a percentage in the project that has to have those standards, that has to be built to those. Because most of these commercials, I think, are gonna pivot. The panels will pivot with the sun. And that's why they say some of the raise the height and at the, wherever, But you could, and that's a way of limiting the scale of some of these, if you put a certain percentage has to fall under those agrivoltaic definitions.
Now you're putting conditions on the land. Like Colin,
Or landowner give up their rights, they,
you can sell the property.
under the lease. We're requiring a permit holder.
Well, but that affects the landowner's land. He or she may not want to raise sheep or have cattle.
Right, let's putting it on the landowner that they.
Well, it doesn't have to be grazed, it could be wildlife pollinators or, as it was stated in the definition. Growing a crop, providing for pollinators, or raising animals. I do get what you're saying about it. May not be able to be great. And I think also some of those standards come in later in what they have to contract underneath it.
Could it open up for leasing, to put out a lease to, raise the panels? If it were to go for livestock, route with the agrivoltaic or whatever, If the landowner doesn't
the account, it's like that property that's sold outputs, that system's been insufficient. So, we don't know how something is going to have evaluation until it happens.
I don't think anybody wants to live by it. That's all we're doing.
That's not an uncommon sentiment.
There's one.
That's not an uncommon sentiment. I don't think that that's, I mean, I think at some point we will address setbacks and property lines.
Do we need to address that?
I don't know how we can.
There's one.
We anticipate changes. I don't know how you can legislate anticipations.
All we can do is approve setbacks and regulations of where those are to try to minimize the damage. And that also comes into the conditional use permit when they apply for that permit. This body then gets to take that and all that into consideration and approve or deny that permit. But what we're doing is writing the regulations.
I have talked to a few people that were living near solar farms. They are not happy campers.
Have their property values gone down?
They're what?
Have their property values gone down?
They have difficulty finding prospective buyers of their property.
Have they listed them?
They're one.
Have they listed the property for sale?
I didn't ask them that particular question. But they are of the opinion that their property is devalued.
And that goes back to the beginning of these, the requirements. I mean, the planning commission has to take into consideration the visual impact and all these other impacts that, I mean, we have to set these rules the way we want them to happen, but then we still get the opportunity to say, no, that's not gonna work, or yes, that's gonna work. And that's the time that we take those into consideration, whoever's still on this board at that time.
And neighbors have a chance to speak up.
Just asking if we need to consider it at some point.
Absolutely. But I don't know how we consider it in a regulation to write them, to, the rules that they have to follow, I don't know how we can consider that.
I don't want a hog farm next to me, I couldn't stop it.
You could in the zoning changes or whatever, I mean, you can appeal it or you can oppose it. There is regulations that go with zoning changes, I'm assuming, same with conditional use, that so many neighbors object to it, it has to go, you know,
Hog farms and feedlots,
Certain
that's, yeah,
they're not.
that's more, KDHE. If they're in violation of, runoff and everything.
But our county does have regulations on what, you know, and up to 300 head feedlot doesn't have to have the same setbacks as 1,000 head. So
Right, but regulated by the state. But as far as the county goes, if it's an A1, it's an agricultural use, then
it's still considered, doesn't need a special use.
We've been at about 2 hours. You want to score, John, or call it the best?
call it good enough or not. I mean, I think we've talked about a lot of things that we can go back on and
So we made progress.
come back to the drawing board and see.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Do we need one? We're not, we can't do any business.
Okay.
We can just say goodbye.
See you next time.
Thanks for coming.
It'll take a while to get through this over.
Yeah.
Second Thursday of March.
February.
Yeah. Dick? Dick?
That was a timer, wasn't it?
Well, the regular meeting would start at 7.
John, this is one, this is a plan. Okay, but you can, if you submit.
Special work session for 6, regular meeting for 10.
I'll be posted on the website. Steve, it'll all be posted on the website.
Yeah, it's gonna take me a little while, but I just wanna